Hey guys, welcome. So today I wanted to tell you a little bit about something very important. It's an extremely important test that I believe we should all do. I'm Nicole Andrews
and I'm Tracy Scaletta with SpectraCell.
So SpectraCell is an amazing company that does all sorts of functional nutritional lab testing, which is way different than what conventional doctors run. And so why don't you tell us a little bit on how that's different usually?
Sure. So when you go to your primary care physician and they do routine labs, typically it's going to be a measurement in what we call the serum.
Right.
And the serum is part of your blood, but it's basically outside the cell. Mm-hmm. And it's really only giving us a 72-hour look at what their values are as far as their nutrients go.
So it's just like a snapshot.
It's a snapshot, and basically when you look at nutrients, they don't have a purpose or a function in the serum. It still has to get across the cell membrane, get into the cell in order for you to utilize that nutrient and have a purpose and a function. And that's what we're doing with SpectraCell.
It's an amazing, amazing company. And, you know, I have to say, I would say my average client spends over $3,000 a year on supplements. At least, you know, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So we really want to see, because a lot of this, you might be wasting your money on things that you think are doing your body good, but they may not be even being absorbed. Okay, so that's why doing a test like this can save you potentially thousands of dollars a year. So that's why the heading is Don't Guess, Test. And so we want to tell you a little bit about each and every test that we are going to be running. So there's going to be an event coming up soon, and I'll put the details in the comments below, and you can always reach out if you're interested. But let's tell everybody about why they would want to get these nutrients tested and everything that's tested, because there is a couple things. Let's start with the vitamins, the minerals, and the amino acids. Those are things that are tested at the cellular level.
And the antioxidants.
Right, so we're going to get there. But, you know, when your normal values are run, like Tracy mentioned, that's something, you know, it's added on to your regular blood work, right? Like your B12 or your vitamin D. Exactly. And for the longest time, I thought that that was appropriate. I was like, oh, my vitamin D is great. But when I learned about the intracellular testing through SpectraCell, I was shocked. My vitamin D was in the dumps. So it was the type of vitamin D that I wasn't absorbing. I needed a more micellized version. Maybe I had a genetic SNP about that. Right. And so you really want to know what your level is inside the cell, not just floating around there in the bloodstream.
Well, and everybody's made up biochemically different. You might have a higher need of vitamin D than I do. Right. And selenium or glutathione. So it's not about just taking a multivitamin anymore. No. Or taking, you know, X, Y, and Z because your trainer or Dr. Oz told you. You got to exactly see what your biochemistry needs are, and that's what's so important about doing this test.
Right, and there's so many other things. So another test that is included is your immunity check. So you can actually find out how strong your immune system is, because that's huge. We don't know how strong and how susceptible you are to catching colds, which now we know how important it is to keep our immune system strong.
Yeah, especially with the flu.
With the flu going around, you know, 3 people at the gym just recently said that they were talking about how sick they were, and, you know, I was like, you know, you don't want, and why don't we just test? And because with this test, when you see how strong your immune system is, you can have that confidence in knowing, okay, I know what to do to bring this immunity up, or, you know, what factors are influencing your immune system's decline. And so, and then another thing that this test is your antioxidant strength. So these are important, right?
Yeah, so you're going to get, obviously, your deficiencies. You're going to identify that. But you're also going to look at your total immune function. And then do you have the ability to fight those free radicals that we're constantly being thrown at, especially now.
But people don't know what free radicals are, right? Most people are like, that sounds like a hippie or some sort of like crazy word. But free radicals is basically like firecrackers going off in your bloodstream that are damaging your cells and your insides. So the higher your antioxidant status, the more ability you have with fighting those free radicals and like putting that fire out with those. So that it tells you how strong your antioxidant capacity is. And then another cool thing with this test is it does give you an insight into your blood sugar metabolism. So it doesn't necessarily diagnose you with diabetes, but if you have diabetes in your family or you're borderline, sometimes elevations in blood sugar can be attributed to things such as, fructose sensitivity or chromium deficiency. What's the other one? Test the glucose.
So we look at how you're metabolizing glucose within inside the cell. So
the insulin interaction.
The insulin interaction between glucose and then your ability to metabolize those sugars within inside the cell. And chromium is important because it's going to help us stabilize those blood sugars. So.
And who would think, that they were having a blood sugar problem just because they're deficient in chromium, and just something as simple as that can help prevent diabetes down the line, and all of these things, like Tracy said, they're all individual to all of us. So we want to make sure that we know, how we can approach that, because say if you have a fructose sensitivity, and even though fruit is healthy, you might not be metabolizing fruit sugar so well, and that might be shooting up your blood sugar. So this would give you the knowledge to know that. And another thing we're going to be adding into this draw is called your omega check, which is very cool in a sense that it tests all your fatty acids. So in layman's terms, I would say, if you're deficient in omegas, right? Like what would be some of the symptoms that people could be suffering with? Like,
oh, guys, multiple, but it could be fatigue, it could be skin rashes, dry, brittle hair, and nails. Yeah, so, and we just, as Americans, depression, and now they're saying that a high amount of omega-6s versus your omega-3s are actually contributing to your risk for Alzheimer's.
Right, because it's bringing up that inflammation. So that's important to know, guys, because how would you know if your fatty acids are out of balance? Just because you take a fish oil supplement doesn't mean that they're in balance. You want to know what your levels are so that you can adjust accordingly. And the other test that will be added is something called MTHFR, which is a genetic test. It's how you metabolize or don't metabolize folic acid and B vitamins such as that. What would you say the percentage of people that don't metabolize?
Well, I guess there's about 50% of the population has some type of mutation in that pathway.
And so this is really important because just this alone can cause birth defects. So if you have this genetic SNP and you're taking regular prenatal vitamins and you have this, you could potentially end up with birth defects if you're not taking these methylated B vitamins and you have this SNP. So fertility is huge. A lot of people just can't get pregnant.
It's fixable though, so
it's
we
fixable.
don't want to like scare you, but it's definitely something that you can control once you identify.
That's what I said. Yeah, like knowledge is power, right? So we want to know. And mental health, that's huge for depression, anxiety, ADD. If you're not taking that methylated B vitamin and you're not taking the right things, even neurological problems like problems like Parkinson's and Alzheimer's and chronic pain like fibromyalgia, like that's all associated with this MTHFR test. That's so important that we'll be doing at the blood draw. So what's included in this blood draw is not only getting all of these things that we mentioned tested, but it's also going to be giving you the interpretation. So once your results are in, I will contact you and we'll set up a session and make specific dietary and supplement recommendations. You'll also be able to receive a 5 to 10% discount off of retail prices, which is big because I really just want to make sure that you guys get the knowledge you need to feel your best. And so, you know, I'm excited. I'm excited to offer this.
Yeah, it's very unique. Yeah, and it's great in that once your results come back, and Nicole goes over those and puts a repletion regimen together, it's not until 6 months that we suggest that you repeat your testing, because we need to give your cells that sufficient amount of time to replete and get to that more optimal to normal levels. So it's not something that needs to be done often.
No, you don't have to test it all the time. Some people just test it once or twice a year and then just make sure that they're taking what they need to take. So don't, you know, stop wasting money on your vitamins and supplements that quite possibly are not only not doing you any good and wasting money, but
expensive urine,
possibly be doing harm if you're taking folic acid and you're not a methylator. And so this group draw, it's going to be, I'll post the link in the comments, but it's time saving, it's convenient, it's one-stop shop. We'll have a trained phlebotomist on site. And I'm limiting this to 10 people only, and we'll see how this goes. There might be others involved as well, but really just this live education is to bring you the knowledge of what's out there and how we can be proactive in our health. That's not mainstream. So that's why, you know, that's why I really believe in going live and putting this information out there. And if you think it could benefit somebody that you know and love, share it, and feel free to contact me as well through Facebook Messenger or through email or text. If people don't live here, like say someone in Pennsylvania is watching this, go Eagles.
Yes.
So they could also engage in this special as well, because there's centers out there, and all we do is mail you a kit, and I can still give you the same special price that we're offering here today. And so if you have questions or concerns, you know, feel free to reach out, because it's a lot of information, but I was hoping that with this Tracy being here and the information that we outlined today for you, that you can get a lot of your questions answered already. And like I said, feel free to contact me and I'd be happy to answer your questions. So
awesome. Yeah, we hope you guys sign up, and I look forward to meeting you guys on March 2nd.
March 2nd. Yep, that's the date.
From 12 to 3.
From 12 to 3. And if you click below, you can click the link to purchase, and you can also click your link to schedule your 15-minute slot. So we don't expect people to be here all day.
Right.
And if it's a time and a date that doesn't work for you, just please let me know, and we'll try to make something else work.
Perfect.
Okay.
Awesome. Have a good day. Happy Friday.
Thanks, guys.